Great. So I hope you've had a good evening. We move on to some slightly formal but probably informal bits. One of the things that came out from the earlier presentation was, of course, the timeline, how long history is in the world of Parkinson's. And this kind of resonates with what's going to happen next, because as you know, this meeting is a collaboration between the Parkinson's Academy and our good friends BIAL. And it's therefore my great pleasure to introduce the Chief Executive of BIAL, António Portela, who I think is going to tell us a little bit about history as well. António.
Thank you, Peter. Do I need to stay here? No, I can move around. Thank you. Thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you very much for the partnership. It's actually the second year that we're in this partnership with Parkinson Academy, Neurology Academy, and it's been very good for us because it has allowed us into your community and to learn about what's been happening in the UK, namely in the Parkinson community. We found, it's the second time we're doing this. We found the last one, very, very good, and that's why we're doing it again. It's actually, and I have to say, it's actually the biggest single investment that BIAL is doing in the UK. So we're very proud, and we wish that the results after this meeting are very productive, and that you all come out of this, with a little bit more knowledge than you have before. First was thank you for allowing the partnership and maintaining it. I was actually seeing the presentation earlier, and it was amazing seeing how long Parkinson has evolved over thousands of years. Because I'm very proud of BIAL. BIAL was actually is run by my family. It was my great-grandfather that started the company in 1924. So we actually, in April this year, we actually turned 95 years old, which for a company is something remarkable. At least that's what I'm told. Not many companies live this long. And it's something that it's been the family, it's been in the genes of all of us, and we're very proud of what we have achieved. Over the last almost 30 years, we've been investing in research and development, mainly focused in central nervous system. So this is the area where we feel comfortable. We're not a big company. We're a 1,000 people company. We have 110 researchers in research and development. From all over the world, and that's been really interesting how we have been able to attract researchers from all over the world to come and work in Porto. As Carl was saying, we're very famous for the port wine and for the football club, but Porto is not really famous for pharma and medicines and research and development. We're actually the biggest research and development company in Portugal, the company that invests more in research and development. Not only in pharma, but in all different sectors. We're actually the company that invests more in research and development in Portugal. And that it sort of gives you a legacy in terms of what we have been doing, and also where we want to go in the future. And over these last 30 years, we have been, we have developed a couple of drugs. One of them you probably know, you might not associate with BIAL, which is Xebenix, is lecabazepine acetate for epilepsy. That drug was developed by our researchers in our labs, although it's not commercialized, or it wasn't commercialized until very recently by BIAL in the UK, and more recently opicapone. So we have a focus in this area. We're trying to to bring innovative medicines so that you can help your patients here in the UK, but also elsewhere in the world. We have, as I said before, we're not a big company, we're not a big pharma company, but we're very dedicated to what we do. And we started working in the UK in 2015, where we opened our office. It was a one-man show at the time. Jason was running a one-man show, and slowly we started growing. And today we have a good presence. We have more than 20 people already here. That have been, over these last 4 years, have achieved something that, to be honest, 5 years ago I didn't thought it was possible to have. It is I think, for us and for me personally, that we have this presence today in the UK, as we also have in Germany, in Italy, in Spain, something that 10 years ago we didn't thought was possible. When we launched, or when our epilepsy drug Xebenix was launched 10 years ago, we didn't have the resources to actually be ourselves launching it in the different countries. So we launched in Portugal, our own country, but we licensed it out to other companies in Europe or in the US. But this time round, the company has grown a little bit, so we had our own resources, and we're building our affiliates around Europe. Not in the US or in Asia still, we have partners to do that, and hopefully, we'll be able to continue to expand as we grow. So, opicapone has been launched in a few European countries. The UK is actually the first country where we launched it. The UK and Germany, we launched it at the same time, back in October 2016. And we're actually very proud of what we have been achieving until now. All major markets, apart from our French friends who always make things very, very difficult. But apart from that, all major countries have access today to opicapone in their countries, and that's something that makes me very proud, that we are actually improving people's lives. Hopefully, over the next 18 months, we'll be able to achieve most European countries. We'll be able to be in the US, in Japan, and in South Korea as well. So by the end of 2020, I'm hoping that we have access to all these different markets. The different health authorities, the FDA, the Japanese authority, and the Korean authority are also reviewing it. So I'm hoping that during next year we'll be able to have it in those countries as well. And by 2021 in China as well, which the authorities are already reviewing the dossier. This is, it's been a big journey for us. Although we have developed a drug for epilepsy, this is actually the first one that we're launching it ourselves. And it's been a major journey for us, these last 4 years in preparing and launching. And we've learned so much in what we have achieved with opicapone. But I'm hoping that over the next few years, and by saying this, I mean that we will be here for the next few years. Opicapone has patent protection beyond 2030, so whether you like it or not, we'll be here for a while. This is our life. This is we don't have 20 drugs to launch every year, so we're going to be here for some time. And we're going to be able to develop and to continue to work with you. The partnership that we have, with clinicians, with nurses, with caregivers is very, very important for us. And what I think one of the big things that we've been learning about opicapone is that when we developed the regulatory program, we designed the clinical trials based on what the authorities require. That's it. You don't fool around. You do what the authorities want. And we have the pivotal trials and we have the data, which I hope that by now you all know, the pivotal data about Ongentys. What's been very interesting since 2016 when we launched is knowing about what's happening in the real world, which is not exactly the same as we had in the pivotal trials. And I shared with some of you this evening, we're getting so much feedback, and fortunately, very positive feedback about how opicapone is doing. Obviously, it's up to us now to capture all this data and to share with you back in terms of, what's the real world data that we have out there, what are the good things, and what are the bad things as well, because obviously this works for some patients, it might not work for all the patients. Why does it work for some patients and not for others? But we need you in this partnership with us, because we're not able to do this alone. We're able to do the pivotal trials, but the real world data, we need you guys to work with us to make sure that we capture, the things we'll be hearing about sleeping, about how the patient feel well, about anxiety, depression, how these things impact the patient's lives. It's all about capturing this to make sure that, dyskinesia, for example, and the feedback we're getting from clinicians that have used opicapone significantly is, yes, there is dyskinesia because the drug is efficacious, and we're used to another COMT inhibitor that wasn't efficacious. So we need to adapt ourselves. It's a learning process. So how do we adapt? How do we change? How do we play with levodopa? These are the things that we need your help to be able to get out there. And why am I saying this in terms of the partnership and getting your help? Because you guys have had the drug in the UK for the last 3 years. Many countries we haven't launched yet. So we don't need to make the mistakes we've made here because we didn't know in other new countries. When we go to the US, when we go to Japan, or even other European countries. So the more data, the more we can capture right now, the more we will be able to help patients, from the first day in other countries where we haven't launched. This is a bit what I wanted to say to you today. It's really, this opicapone is, I wouldn't say everything to us, but it means a lot to us. And it was very important. It was a huge investment for a company of our size to do. Was the work of a lot of people, very, very dedicated to this, that worked for many years to make sure that they had this drug on the market. And it's really, really good to get the feedback that we're getting today, from clinicians, from nurses, from patients, from caregivers. It's really, really good to have the feedback that we're getting today and seeing that we're making a difference. Obviously, I think we're very proud internally in the company. We're very proud. When we look at the history, the thousands of years that Parkinson has been around, it's only a drop in the ocean. But what I do hope is that in 100 years' time, when we look back at Parkinson's, that that BIAL has played a key role in terms of helping your patients and patients around the world with Parkinson. So again, many thanks for the partnership that we have with the association. But again, the partnership that we're establishing with you, that we have been building with you over the last 3 years, is here to stay. None of us is worried about Brexit, whatever happens or not. I was asked the question at the table, are you worried about it? I said, I don't care about it. I just hope that we have enough stock to supply to patients. That's the only concern that I have. Apart from that, I don't really care about Brexit, whatever happens or not, and anyone in the company. So, we're this for the long run, to work with you guys, but we need you guys to work with us as well. Okay? Thank you very much.